Hey, so we're at Grange Park near the CSI, and I'm with Yvonne Bambrick, and we're going to talk about the Toronto Cyclists Union. So let's start off. Tell me what it is. Like, what's the purpose of the union?
Well, the Toronto Cyclists Union is the first citywide member-funded cycling advocacy group in Toronto. So we are working towards making cycling a much more integrated form of transportation throughout the city, and just getting the respect that cyclists deserve as one of our most green segments of the city, or not segments, but green groups of citizens. All the folks that choose to cycle have been sidelined for a long time, and it's about time we got a bit more space on our streets to cycle safely across the city.
The union is an advocacy group to some extent, right? So what things besides bike lanes are you advocating for cyclists?
Well, one of the things that's been extremely positive is the ability now, and I mean, you will have noticed, to have a positive voice for cycling in media. Having someone, well, myself specifically, I've had a chance to speak with all the major dailies and you know, the television stations, and we finally have a positive voice for cycling, whereas, you know, that was just lacking before. So overall, increasing the positive energy around cycling and making it more mainstream, and just shifting the culture towards one that is more cycle friendly and respects cyclists and understands that they're an important part of the transportation system. So getting more infrastructure, absolutely. Getting more bike parking, getting bike parking off of sidewalks so that we've got more space for pedestrians. We need to accommodate everyone as we add this infrastructure. So you know, making sure that cyclists have adequate spaces to ride, that they feel welcome, that you know, that our city takes it seriously. It's an important part of a green city, and if we're claiming to be green, we must accommodate and welcome more cyclists to our streets.
Now, you've had some success recently with the Jarvis Street narrowing to accommodate bike lanes. Is that partially or fully the work that the union did, or how did that come about?
Well, it came about, one of our members, Anne Tram, lives on Jarvis Street and was disappointed to see that at one of the public consultations last fall, late summer, early fall, that there were no bike lanes considered in this redesign of Jarvis Street. They were simply looking at the pedestrian realm. They were looking to remove the center lane and widen the sidewalks, add more trees and more pedestrian amenities to that space, but no talk of bike lanes. I mean, I think it had come up in the public consultations, but the transportation department that was working on the project decided to stick with their initial mandate, which was the pedestrian realm. The bike union went out and did a study. We measured, they were claiming that in order to comply with the new sidewalk width guidelines, they had to widen the sidewalks, and we went out and showed that there was only one or two places where the sidewalk didn't meet the standard, and it could be easily accommodated by moving, I think it was a telephone booth and some other on-street furniture. So we lobbied for bike lanes, we pushed hard, we then had the local councillor take up the charge and champion the bike lanes. He championed the alternate design at the final public consultation in January, and with our support we mobilized you know, hundreds of cyclists to write letters, both to our mayor, to the clerk, to Councillor Kyle Ray, and also just to their councillors in their wards if they weren't from the Jarvis Street area. And we then invited all of our members to come to City Hall on the morning of the big debate, the all-day debate. I mean, most people stayed for the first half, but they talked about it in council all day from 9:30 a.m. till, I think the decision came in at 6:20 that afternoon, but the timing was great as well. It was the start of Bike Month, so there were hundreds of cyclists in Nathan Phillips Square. We once again asked them to come into council chambers and sit there with their helmets and just be visible, just to show council that there are hundreds of thousands of cyclists in the city and they deserve an equal amount of space relative to their size on our streets, and I don't think it's too much to ask. So we did lobby to get bike lanes included when they were not initially, and we're very pleased with the outcome. It's a big win for all cyclists, in particular because it was such a high-profile discussion both in City Council and in the media.
Now, I recently heard a talk by the head of transportation for New York City, and she's
She's
very
great.
pro-cyclist. Right?
She's wonderful.
What's your sense of where the city of Toronto is on that scale? If New York is like a 9 or 10, where's Toronto sitting around that scale?
We have Janette SadikKhan is a very dynamic woman. She's doing an excellent job in New York, and she's got the energy. She can talk the talk. She can get up there and be bold, and she's really doing a great service to her mayor, and she regularly credits him with taking the initiative, but she's the one actually getting it done, which is fantastic. We have our head of transportation is Gary Welsh, and he's got the right attitude. He's maybe not quite as dynamic a figure as she is, but he's got the right energy and interest in cycling. He sees the value of cycling and walking in terms of the livability of a city. So we're getting there. We've got the right people in place. Unfortunately, there's not quite the same dynamism, but I think that will come. It helps to have a group like ours, comparable, at least in goals, to transportation alternatives, with whom Janette SadikKhan is working in New York. They've been around for a lot longer than we have. We're nascent by comparison, and we're learning a lot from New York. I'd say if you want to put a number on it, we're at a 6. We're getting somewhere. We have a great transportation department, and the cycling department within transportation are wonderful. They're all incredible people doing good work, and they've been limited by the lack of political will as much as the city cyclists have. So having a group like the Toronto Cyclists Union to help bring citizens on side and get them talking to their councillors and asking for bike lanes and making bike lanes and bike infrastructure a priority does help staff to get their work done as well. So we're getting there.
Now, you've got about 700 members now?
Yeah, we're just on 700.
So what's your goal for the next year?
Oh, I'd like to at least double that or more. I mean, I really think the more we let folks know the work that we're doing, the more they'll, I hope, choose to become members of the bike union and to volunteer and to get involved in the cycling community. There's a ton of incredible people that really care about riding bikes and really care about making our city excel and even surpass, the current leaders, Vancouver and Montreal, in terms of being an excellent cycling city. I ride year-round. There's no reason why others can't do it if I can. If you're a Canadian, you should know how to get layered up and how to get dressed for the winter. So, for example, there's more folks than ever riding in the winter, which is fantastic. I feel a lot safer on our roads because they are the priority for getting cleared than I do walking on the sidewalks in the winter. There's icy patches here, there, and everywhere. I think when people realize that we're doing them a service by being their connection to City Hall, by being their connection to the Transportation Department, by being a group that is working within the system to affect the changes we all want to see and that will benefit all citizens on the roads and throughout the city. I think they'll understand that they can see our success so far. A lot of the success that we've had has been behind the scenes, as I said, high visibility in the media, but also now the high profile win on Jarvis Street. That's just the beginning. There's a lot more to be done, and we need people's energy to be able to continue it. And we also want to be able to hire more than, I'm the only paid staff. We're running mostly on volunteer support, and we'd love to be able to hire more folks to take on specific issues, because it takes an individual to get right into an issue and to pursue every angle of it to move forward on it. So the more members we have, the more we can do, and we hope you'll join us.